So yeah, Jay, I just have this hobby where I chat with people really about anything. Typically, it's best if it's some kind of deeply held belief, something you really think is true,
What do I strongly believe in?
something that might influence you on a regular basis.
I don't know. I'm trying to think of something. The obvious thing is like probably like religion or something, or what else? What's a strongly held belief of mine? I don't know. I think I believe a lot in objectivity, or like trying to be able to see things from like a third person perspective, or
Awesome.
just trying to like you know look at most of the angles as much as you can before you make a decision, or if you are making a decision, trying to see from other people's point of view, things like that.
Yeah, this is what I'm all about as well. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
You mentioned something about a religious belief. Want to talk about that?
I'm like religious, but in the same way I just mentioned it. So I was raised Christian, so I am Christian. I'm not like against it. I like it. I think it's cool. But I'm like more because I'm so inquisitive. So I'm more just like spiritual, I'd say, because I'm not so like aggressively like I don't want to evangelize to people and like force them to be Christian. Also, I'm more about like, oh, let's continue reading something maybe, or like understanding more about this thing, or
Yeah. Want to talk about the existence of a God?
Oh yeah. I think.
Could I get a sense of your confidence that there is a God?
Yeah, I think. Yeah,
and this is the Christian God.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I mean, that's the thing too. Well, I just believe there's a God. Period. I think it doesn't necessarily have to be Christian. Because what is really Christian? Because like I'd say, specifically the Christian religion has tons and tons of denominations. You have your Catholics, Protestants. You have your Seventh-day Adventists. You have your Mormons. You have your Pentecostal. You have the list goes on. So like, what is really being Christian? And at the same time, there's like lots of similarities in Muslim religion. They have some of the same people. They have Moses. They have Noah. They have Abraham. Jesus in their Bible somewhere, or in their Quran. Sorry, in their Quran somewhere.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of. I don't really necessarily believe there's like a crazy amount of tie into one specific religion as far as like there being a God, but I do believe there's a God.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, I just do this thing here where I try to figure out the reasons why people believe things. Like for example, Socrates is mortal. Socrates is a human. All humans are mortal. If these two things are true, then the top should be true, right? So yeah, so I'm going to be looking for like things like this about the God belief. Is that cool?
Okay. So how about the other way around? If God exists, and then the Bible says God made us in His image, then are we God?
So that would be like the Bible says God exists?
Yeah.
Would that be a reason?
Yeah.
Okay. So Bible says God exists.
And then, so outside of the Bible, I'd say all of the things that we can't explain, or the things we can explain, but we don't have reasons for them. I don't know. Something simple like a cold. Why don't we have a permanent cure for a cold yet? Something super simple like that. Or childbirth. It's like a mini miracle. And like we're like the weirdest mammals, I guess. Or just animals. Like when giraffes come out, they can walk. Or most babies and most animals, when they come out, they can walk or do something. Like we're just like dumb. We can't. We're just like stuck.
So yeah, we'll just stick with this one reason. So would you say this reason gives you confidence that God exists?
Not particularly, because the Bible could have been written by anyone. I think for me personally, why I think God exists is more so seeing stuff, like being alive, seeing like mini miracles, and then also like amazing things too that don't make sense, like things that don't make sense specifically. So like I couldn't even tell you, or like let's say like intuition, for example.
Okay.
So like I don't want to get too personal because whatever, but my mom called me once and just asked me what's wrong, like at one of the craziest points in my life. She was in a totally different country. It was like so weird. It was like for probably 3 a.m. for her, and the thing that happened with me just literally just happened. and she called me like, "Hey, what's wrong? I know something's going on." I was like, "Wow, okay, that's interesting." Stuff like that. So I think for me, why I think God exists is more just things I see every day. Maybe my point of view on what uh, causes these things. Or
Okay. So would you say this is the main reason why you believe? Unable to explain weird things happening?
yeah, I'd say that. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And and for that reason, the related part would be the weird things happening were because of the God.
Hmm. Or maybe our perception on the weird things happening. Because, for example, um, the way we perceive. Okay, that's for example, like maybe soothsayers way back in the day, they were seen as like prophets or whatever because they could tell what the weather is going to be like. But now we can just do it because it's science.
Mhm.
So that's not like special anymore. But like maybe at some point in the future we'll be able to do other things that we consider miracles now, and then
Maybe.
yeah.
Yes. So would you say this is a reliable way to come to this belief?
Um. Hmm.
Like, if both of these were true, well, if this was true,
hmm
then a God would exist.
Yeah. But then
Yeah.
that's independent though, because if this was true, then that's true. But if this is true, doesn't necessarily mean that or that's true.
Yeah. So, yeah. So, yeah. So, how did you determine the weird things happening were because of a God?
Um. Maybe it's romanticism. Maybe I just want to believe there's a God.
Just want to believe?
Maybe, yeah, could be
Okay.
that.
Want to believe.
Yeah. Maybe I want to believe in a higher power. That there are things that exist that we just can't explain. Like no matter how advanced we get or uh, how far we take things, maybe there's something that's always just going to be like, oh, well, we can't explain that. Maybe, for example, like how the Earth started. We have like bunches and bunches of science, but they're all theories. So we could just all agree. Like, let's say we all agree red is red. It's red now. So like, it doesn't necessarily mean it's an actual fact.
Yeah. So when I hear you say that, like, this is what I'm thinking. The reason you think this is true is because you want to believe it's true, and what I'm relating to that is what you wanted to believe is true is true. Is that what you're saying?
And then that probably ties into what I said earlier: is are we God? Because maybe God is just
Are we God?
yeah. Maybe we just made him up, or maybe he exists and he made us, and we're part of him, or her, or it.
So, is this true? Whatever you believe is true. Like, what do you mean by true?
Yeah, true. I think true is like I said with the red thing. So it's just like things that uh not even really undeniable. Things that we just agree on. Because like I said, red is red because we all just said it's red. What if one day we said it was blue, then it's just gonna be blue as long as everyone agrees on it.
True is what everyone agrees to be the case.
In some cases. It's tricky. Yeah, it's in some cases. Because there's some that's like a thing I think about all the time. Like the things that are generally widely accepted by the public, uh, are they always right or true just because everyone agrees on them? And then sometimes I think okay, that's the thing why I think is like maybe a reason God exists. Sometimes we just I mean most people I think have like a kind of intrinsic uh, feeling about what's right or wrong.
Yeah, like what I'm thinking is for this, true is whatever everyone agrees to be true. Like, if for some reason everyone agreed that the world was flat,
Then
would
it'd
that
just
make
be
it true?
flat. To us, in our perception, it would be because right now we believe it's circular. What if it's square? What if it's an oval? What if it's like a very specially formed, actual just flat surface? Or maybe if it's imagine if it's like this. And so every time you go to the edge, your perception of it is not it's not actually curving. You just feel like you're always flat.
But would the consensus of everyone relate to the truth of the actual world being flat?
I think objectively, no.
Objectively, no.
Objectively, no.
What do you mean by that?
Because the facts. That's what's weird though, because I want to say the facts are the facts, no matter what you do to it or around it or believe about it. But then, are we creating all the facts? Because if we all agree that the Earth is round because we found some way to prove that, what if in 50 years someone else proves that it's a different shape, and then that means that fact is now wrong? So then, was it ever a fact?
Yes. So is that what you're saying now? True is whatever is objective?
I'm going to say that. I'd like to say that. But then, what is objectivity?
Yeah. How do we determine what is objectively true?
I think my struggle here is perception, because I think if everyone agrees on something, then we agree to have that same perspective on something. So therefore, our perception of that thing is a certain way. So to us, it's always going to be true. But if we're then presented with a new perspective, that could then shake that possible truth, or that what we believe to be concrete truth.
Are you saying our perception is what is objective?
I'm saying our perception is what is not objective.
What is
I
not
think that's
objective?
more of a consensus. Like our perception, because like my perception of myself could be a certain way, and yours could be different. So which one is true?
Yeah. Is there a way to test our perceptions to see if they actually match,
Okay,
let's say,
that probably
reality?
goes back to where's it going? The one where we said when everyone agrees. I think the more people, that's probably it. The more people agree on something, the more likely that it's true.
The more likely it is.
No, even that is wrong. It's so weird. This is such a rope. It's just a twisting rope. Because I want to say that, but then I feel like there's lots of things that people generally believe are wrong that are right, that are wrong. Like for example, I don't know. What's an easy example of this? Oh, okay. All right. So Thomas Edison invented the light bulb. We all agreed that.
Yeah.
And that's true because we all agree. But then...
Just because we agree?
Well, no, because it's not actually true. So the slaves that were in...
His employees, like all of his...
Right. They made them. He didn't make them. And then his situation was he had two houses, one with all the doing all the blueprinting. What do you call it? Blueprints, right? They would... register all the blueprints, and then the other house was to make the inventions. And what better motivation to make inventions than like whips and like a fire under your ass, you know? So it's like, all right, whatever. So you got some of these people making inventions, and then some people patenting it. That's it. They would get the patents. So technically, sure, he invented it.
Yeah, I guess it depends on what you mean by invent.
Right. Because did he physically do it?
Is it just the boss of the company that invents something, or is it the actual employees?
And it's the same way. So I'm a graphic designer. So if I work for a company, I sign an NDA, and then I sign something else that says I can't say that I made something, and then whatever I make is property of the company. So if I made something, I made it with my hands. This is something I made. But the company can say they made it, and that's their property. So then, same thing. So like, who actually made that?
Yeah. So I'm still trying to. What are we talking about? Are we talking about like how do we find out what is objective truth?
Yeah. What is objective truth? How do you do that?
Okay. So maybe
I think the objective truth of that situation is yes, I made that design.
Yeah.
That's the objective truth, no matter what, because I did that. I physically did that.
Is there some type of method we could use to determine what is not true?
I think observation, because if someone saw me do that and they could vouch for me, because I would know it's true regardless, but if everyone agrees that it's not true to the general public, it wouldn't be true.
Is there any way to determine that it's not true?
It's having proof. So like observing, so either eyes or a camera could record me doing it. So some
type of evidence.
Some type of evidence. So evidence. Okay, cool. So there we're getting somewhere now.
Evidence.
Evidence is the underlying evidence. Yeah. It's what proves something is true, I think.
So evidence relates to what is objective?
Yeah. I'd say so.
Okay. Is there any evidence for a God?
think there is, but then that it's like you can't take pictures of this, or maybe you can. But then, is there evidence that there's not a God, though?
Can there be evidence for things that don't exist?
There can't be unless you have the means to observe such a thing. So, for example, there couldn't have been evidence that the world was round until we had the means to observe that. So, truth is, I say, when you are in possession or have the means to provide evidence of something, I'd say.
I like that. Yeah, so is it true that a God exists?
Then maybe not. Then I don't know. I don't have evidence, so I can't say it. Then, so me personally, I don't have tangible evidence. I can't physically show you, but I feel like, I've seen things or witnessed things that to me prove that there is one, but I can't show you. Therefore, I can't just tell you it's true.
Did I get your sense of confidence before? What was it?
Say again?
Did I get your sense of confidence, saying a scale from 0 to 100 about this?
No.
Sorry. Where would you say your sense of confidence is about this right now?
I believe there's a God, like regardless. But I'm
100%?
Yeah, but I can remove myself from my own personal belief just for the sake of objectivity, because I like to argue and like kind of figure out, like I like to travel along the thought, if that makes sense. Yeah. So I'm not like ever offended by people that don't believe in a God, or I'm not like I don't need to prove to someone that there is a God, but I'm open to different possibilities. But I do personally, currently, right now, I do believe there's a God.
What gives you confidence that it's true?
Just things I've witnessed in my life. Like I said, I think I've witnessed some mini miracles and things like this. I think
the weird things happening.
Yeah.
And the weird things happening were because of a God.
Yeah.
And how did you determine that it was because of a God?
Because I don't feel like there's a way to measure these things currently, and it's beyond my or anyone else, unless I guess anyone else around me's comprehension. And I don't know, maybe that's lazy. Maybe because it's beyond my comprehension, I'm just relegating it to being a God, a higher power. Maybe.
Okay. Well, we can leave it there.
Yeah.
Sure.
Cool.
All right. Was
Nice
it Jay? Jay, yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, thanks, Jay, for the conversation.
Thanks.
Really good. Have a great day.
All right, man. You too.